Dr. Willie Jolley, D. Taylor-Jolley, authors of the book Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. You can go to the Jolly Marriage site and see the clip from the Today Show, which has really generated a lot of buzz. We still are looking for a few more couples who we can interview for one of the television producers who has expressed interest in us for doing a television show, an ongoing television show. And they want to see how we handle real issues with real couples in real time. So we do about a 20-minute conversation, talk to you about your issue.
If you want to volunteer, that's fine. No one's going to see but the producers.
But to the producers and us. Mm-hmm. Also, some of you know we recently did a TED Talk, which we hopefully be, I got an email, I haven't read it yet, should be ready soon. So we'll want you to blow that up to everybody. It's fantastic quality of the production. So we hope we did a good job. One more thing. The Relationship Repair Series. We did that in the month of June. And it's 5 episodes, 5 chapters, 5 modules. Communication, sex, money, family matters, and blended families. Plus a 6th bonus, which is the 11 biggest mistakes people make in relationships and how to fix them. So you can go to ajollymarriage.com/events. Is that correct? ajollymarriage.com/events? You don't know. You have no idea. jollymarriage.com or ajollymarriage.com/events. And you can get access to it.
All written sitting in front of you, so we'll be consistent.
All right. All right. And yes, Lynthia, I do feel better. I had a cold and her husband called and I was wiped out. So I feel better. No temperature, no COVID. I took the test.
Just sneezing, wheezing.
Sneezing, wheezing.
Okay, let's get to it.
All right, get to it. Why don't you do the review of last week? Why long-term marriages end in divorce? We were talking about Sylvester Stallone as a object lesson. After 25 years of marriage, he and his wife were planning to divorce. By the way, did you know that she pulled the divorce back?
Oh, that's good. When did you find that out?
That was the other night.
Oh.
But there are others who, same situation. So what we call that the gray divorce. Why is it such? And
why is it a gray divorce?
And why is it going up in number?
Mm-hmm.
More so than
because you're getting on each other's nerves. That's why.
That might be it.
Okay. So the gray divorce, by definition, says you've been married 20 years or more.
Uh-huh.
You know, they select an arbitrary number, so the number is like 20 years. The Stallone crew were married longer than that,
mm-hmm.
but the average is about 20 years of time.
About 20 years.
Al Gore and his wife divorced. Al Gore, remember?
And Tipper?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been married for 40 years.
Wow.
And there's something. Okay. So, and then you also have Bill and Melinda Gates. They divorced over a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is why? And that's the largest growing population of people getting divorced, those who are over the age of 50. And the marriages are longer than 20 years.
Yep.
And you say you look at why.
Why?
Okay, so here's a quick review. For those who are falling to that category of married longer than 20 years, why do they tend to get divorced? Number one, abuse. Now we said we don't know if it was.
You know what? I'm going to challenge that. Let me challenge. That research was. I found research that challenged that and said the number one reason is not abuse, it's being
we don't know what
abrasive. Let me finish. Being abrasive to each other because they have grown apart. Really, the core issue is they grew apart. The abuse didn't just pop up.
Well, nobody said it did.
But I'm saying that's the reason they're saying it is because they grew apart.
Okay, it doesn't mean it's physical abuse. It could be emotional
abuse. Yeah.
Then if it's emotional abuse, it comes down to how you
talk to each other. So if somebody grew apart and somebody gets on somebody's nerves, then that person will talk to them ugly. Mm-hmm. And that's abusive.
That's abuse.
All right, but the core reason is not because they want to be abusive, because they grew apart and they got on their nerves.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know
That's it.
I can't say that's definitely what happened. All I'm saying is the research says abuse.
Okay, so some sort of abuse. Okay.
So it's
and
not
I'm saying
necessarily
it's
physical, but it's
and
mental
I'm saying
or emotional.
the core, the common denominator, bottom line is because they grew apart.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Dr. Jolly.
Yeah, you call me Dr. Will, not Dr. Phil. Dr. Will.
Lord have mercy. Okay, number 2 is
how's that
addiction.
working for you? Anyway.
Number 2 is addiction.
Yeah.
And it could be anything from men struggling with pornography, alcoholism, gambling,
mm-hmm. drugs,
mm-hmm. other kind of drugs. I don't know why they separate it out, because alcohol is a drug.
Yeah, but alcohol is a different type of drug.
Okay,
right.
So you've got abuse, you've got addiction, you've got the empty nest syndrome.
All right, let's stop there for a second. That is one of the biggest reasons why people divorce after. They will focus so much on raising the kids. That was their whole life, was around the children, that when the children grew up and left, they had nothing. They never took time on their own relationship.
They didn't have a date night.
No date night. No holding hands. No doing the things we tell you to do. Okay, go ahead, sweetie pie.
Okay. Then it says growing apart or falling out of love, which you lump with number 1.
I'm lump as number 1.
Which added to your abuse. But you're
falling out of love. They lost that love and feeling.
Okay.
Love and feeling.
Infidelity.
What is that? You know what?
That's another one.
Infidelity. But also, as according to this different study, the reason with infidelity was that one of the partners said, I ain't been happy. I ain't been satisfied. I was staying in because I was at the end of my road. But now,
what we're looking at
listen. But now, doctors and medical reports say that where people were used to have a lifespan of 70 years, now they have extended it 20, 30, maybe 40 years than what they thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So now they say, am I willing to live 30, 40 more years, 20 more years unhappy? Oh, no, I'm out of here. And that's what they do.
You're so melodramatic.
I got to give you the whole thing.
You're so melodramatic.
But I ain't going nowhere with you.
It's still infidelity. You're running around. Okay, so infidelity and then lack of intimacy. That kind of.
Now, sometimes the lack of intimacy is a result of physical issues, medical issues.
Okay.
Brother can't work no more.
Okay.
Junior ain't rising to.
Or the area is dry, like sandpaper.
One the other.
Okay, so that was supposed to be the order of the gray divorce in terms of where most of them fell in that category of why they ended up in divorce court.
Yeah.
Everything from abuse, number 1, that you disagree with.
No, I maybe I
your rationale.
Maybe I don't disagree. Maybe I want to put a caveat on that to say that the abuse was the result of growing apart and people not knowing how to talk to each other.
So when you grow apart, then you can get ugly with each other. You're not as kind and as thoughtful.
Yeah, people don't when they speak. Let's talk about you. Oh, stop for a second.
Talk about me.
Stop. The fact that your friend said when you were on the phone negotiating a deal and I called in from someplace and how you code switch. You went from.
I speak to you.
You were talking to that person. Where's the money, honey? What's that? And then my iPhone calling. Hello, sweetie pie. How are you doing? Okay. Are we looking for you? Now, where that money at? Oh, I want that money.
I don't want anybody thinking that I actually act that way. But what I do speak to you differently.
You ain't far from it. People don't be fooling with her with the money. She gonna ask, where my money? Where my money,
It's
sucker?
a whole different thing when you are self-employed.
Sucker, where's
And you have
my money? I
employees.
want
Let's
my
go
money.
back. Let's go back. I don't want to do. Okay, here's a byproduct. Thank you. Here's a byproduct of the gray divorce or divorcing when you have had years together, right? Here are three things. All right, there's a problem with the division of property.
Yeah, that came up.
So sometimes, people say, it's cheaper for me to keep them. Now, when you say it's cheaper for me to keep them, it's not necessarily that I love them that much. It's like when you start crunching the numbers financially, you're like, then maybe I can deal with them and maybe have somebody special on the side. Hey,
and look, Michael Burns just made a great point. He said they couldn't afford to divorce, so they stayed together, making things worse instead of working on the problem. That's right. All right.
That's good.
He's the brother of Crystal Marie Burns. Hey, Michael. Okay. And Yvonne Williams is checking in from Raleigh, North Carolina.
So division of property can be very complicated because you might have, like, we've got a timeshare.
Yep.
Stop. What?
Let me stop right there. Listen to me, everybody. This is a dose of D before we get to it. You did something.
What I did?
Hold on.
Did I type something?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Here's a dose of D before the dose of D. Never, ever, ever buy a timeshare. Ever. Don't do it.
We made a mistake a couple of times. Does that mean we were stupid?
Stupid. See, once is a mistake, twice is stupid. At least we didn't get to the third time, which was idiotic.
No knowledge, a lack of education, and going for the freebie. When they say, let me take you to dinner.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Let's come back to that.
All right.
Okay,
I'm through. I'm through. Never buy a timeshare.
Okay.
The money you would have spent on that timeshare, you could have gone to different places all over the world, on cruises, everything. Don't do no more timeshares.
Okay, so.
All right, division
of property is a problem.
Right.
Okay, especially when you're involved in a great divorce. And you know what? The laws are different based upon the state that you happen to be in terms of how the property can be divided based upon how long you've been married. That's probably too much information for people want to know. Okay, and did you know you also end up dividing the pensions?
Oh, yeah.
So each person, let's say you got a retirement plan. When you divorce, there are different rules that apply, and you can end up with a significant portion of your ex's pension plan.
We know somebody who had to give up the part of their plan.
Wow.
The female had to give up part of her pension plan to the dude.
So maybe she was making more money.
Maybe that was it.
Okay, and then the last part, also health care. Okay, who's carrying the health insurance?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you could end up losing access to the health insurance, not unless the person wants to keep you on the plan. Because that you can reach a point, if you're over 50, you might be uninsurable.
Wow.
Right? Because you might have health, the older you get, you might have more health challenges, and then you're looking at a divorce, you're not old enough for Medicare, you're kind of like stuck. And health insurance is very expensive. So those are things to bear in mind.
They are. So,
and then it comes down to, maybe I just want to be pragmatic about this. Isn't that terrible? That I need to be pragmatic about it and not enrich.
And one more thing. It depends on the state you live in, too.
Yes, it does.
All right. California, if you live in California, after 10 years, no matter what, you got to give it up. You got to give up the money.
What does that mean?
You got to give out a spousal support.
Well, the one who makes the most money.
Mm-hmm. And what happens if one person makes
gas is $6 in California?
It's bad.
Everything is expensive, so it could be cheaper to keep them. I know it's oversimplification. Okay, now let's go with. So now we're into reasons for divorce across the board, not the carved out portion of being married for 20 years, but the average before divorce is like 7 years. Seven is the number. And here are the common reasons why you get divorced at the 7 to 10 year mark. They say infidelity is the first thing. Isn't that interesting?
I'm surprised at that because we would have thought that it was.
That's according to the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy. Okay?
Wow.
And as many as 20, sometimes I think with all these statistics and stuff, people lie. But according to this statistic, 25% of married men deal with infidelity, and about 15% of women.
Now, we have a situation with a couple we're mentoring who the husband.
They're not listening.
But the husband keeps having conversations with this woman. Not having sex with her, but just has conversations with her.
Why?
Because the wife tends to be a little
abrasive,
mean mouth. Okay, so he won't talk to his wife. He'll talk to this woman about the things he would usually talk to a wife about.
So the conversations and the mentoring is not working.
Kamal says that for both men and women. No, 25% for men, 15% for women. Okay.
For infidelity, more men tend to step out than women.
Right.
25% for men, 15% for the women overall. Right. According to the American Association.
Oh, Terrence said also, don't forget about the brothers and sisters cheating on the down low. You know what that means?
Oh, having sex with the same, having, what's that word?
Same-sex relationship.
Doesn't say anything about that, but wow.
That's one
that's probably something that maybe
I had a friend his wife got into a same-sex situation, and it was really tough.
Wow.
They finally got back together, and she ended that, but it was tough. All right.
Now, some couples have, you talk about the down low, and some couples have what they call an open or permissive approach to marriage.
Yep. We got a few celebrities who have been on that tip.
I don't know of any couples that we've dealt with.
We've not dealt with any
who have an open relationship. I don't quite know how it works. I don't think I could be. How could I mentor? How would that work?
How does what work? How you can talk to them? It's like when we went to Dubai. And we came off the plane, and the man standing there with a clipboard. He says, "Sir, how many wives do you have?" I said, "What?" He said, "How many wives do you have? Do you declare how many wives?" I said, "Man, you know how hard it is to deal with this one? Keep her happy." Oh, no.
Okay, let's go to number 2.
All right.
So number 1 is infidelity. And this is for the marriages that run 7 to 10 years, which is like the average span before people get divorced. And number 2 is finances. Money issues. And some of the things I was reading, they talked about, which is something that I summarized before, that we had talked about, the different ways that people experience money, the way that they see money.
Yeah.
Are you a saver, you're a spender, you're indifferent, you're a gambler? How do you see money? And part of how you see money is how you were raised, the culture that you were raised in.
Yeah, and does your spouse see it completely the opposite?
They could see it completely differently.
And when that does, there's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So
now, the American Psychological Association in a 2020 study said that 64% of adults said money is a significant source of stress in their lives.
Yeah.
And because of the different ways that they manage money, conflict comes up easily.
Yeah.
Now, how do you deal with that?
You must talk it through. So
you got to talk through what your feelings are.
Yeah.
One of those 4 F's: be friendly, be frank, be fair, and be focused on a win-win. You don't want to kill your partner.
No.
You want to express to them how you feel.
Yes.
Which is what we talked about in our TED Talk, in that the nugget of what we talked about was identify the problem, and together you fight the problem and not each other.
That's right.
And I think sometimes that's very hard because you don't want even somebody as close to you, because you might be ashamed, embarrassed, to know that this is what you're feeling. But you can't get to any kind of resolution if you don't share honestly what you're feeling. Right?
That's right. We did have a conversation with a couple where there was some not openness. from the husband recently, right?
Mm-hmm. But you could tell that from his body language.
You could tell from his body language was
she was much more open and wanted to talk, and I kind of felt bad.
He did not want to be open and
so no, I don't think any real resolution, because, and you know what I thought after? I thought that sometimes it's easier to write down. You know, and that comes with some of the exercises that we will do. It's easier to say, when you say, okay, here's my heart, here's your heart. Write down what you're feeling. Because sometimes it's easier to write it first than just to say it.
I agree.
Because you talk for a living.
Yes.
We're in a completely different space. And
Yeah.
so it's easier for somebody like you, or I have learned, since I'm an introvert, I have learned to express myself. But it can be hard. So sometimes it's easier to write it down than to read what you wrote and then start a conversation that way.
I think that's fair. I don't particularly need that, because I'm going to tell you what I think. Very articulate.
I know, dear, but we're talking about.
And Terrence, you're right. Those entanglements.
What
he said that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett have redefined open marriages and entanglements.
But you know what?
Make you want to slap somebody.
I think they sell a lot. They get a lot of attention, a lot of media stuff, and I don't know how much that is hype.
I wonder how much is true and how much is hype. I agree. Anyway, entanglements. There was some entanglements, and there's a whole lot of. And
I have a whole other life, so I don't really have time for this.
You have a full life between me and your sonny boy, and then
reading everything.
Everything under the sun.
Reasons for divorce.
Finances. Yeah, go ahead.
No, okay.
All right, go
number
ahead.
1 was infidelity. Number 2 was the finances. Then number 3, yes.
Oh, I would not have guessed this. I would not have guessed this.
Y'all need to guess.
Can y'all guess what it is at number 3?
So number 1 is infidelity, running around, right?
Number 2 is
the money. Number 3 is weight gain. Weight gain. Weight gain may seem like an unlikely factor to influence divorce rate.
Wow.
Isn't it? I was like, this is shocking.
Wow. Heck.
Actually, what? Lord, sit down.
I'm gonna do my exercise. I ain't gonna let you replace me.
It's not the exercising, it's the taping of the mouth shut so that you're not eating everything you're not supposed to be eating. Because what did the trainer say?
You cannot out exercise a bad diet.
There you go. You cannot out exercise a bad diet. This is actually when one partner puts on a significant amount of weight, it can impact the relationship in a couple of different ways. Wow. So your spouse doesn't find you attractive anymore. So if you're not physically attractive, you're not going to want to get it on. Right?
It's hard to get it on when you don't feel like there's something there going on.
So it's less, isn't that something? So there's less sexual intimacy. So I guess
y'all better go get a gym membership now, everybody, and get a nutritionist and eat. Oh, where's my book? My diet book.
Oh, honey, please. Okay. So the partner who gains weight may also struggle with self-esteem issues. Okay. Yeah. So it becomes a cycle. What is first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, I'm eating more, I don't feel good about myself, and now my partner really doesn't find me attractive, or I don't know, my partner's pulling away and I don't really know why, and so then I go to comfort food. And then maybe the partner doesn't really say, look, I don't find that sexually attractive because you're obese. How do you say that to somebody that you love?
You're right. It's hard.
It's kind of like, how do I look in this dress? And you say, I'm not going to answer that one.
I ain't answer that one. Dee, we took a picture when William maybe was 3 years old, 2 or 3 years old, down the country. And Dee got the picture when it was before we had digital, when we had to go to get it developed. And she said, who is that woman?
No, the picture... That's the essence of it. Yeah. But it was a family picture, and I had the inside of my closet door on the wall. inside my closet door.
And she said,
years
"Oh
ago.
my God!"
And when I looked at the picture, I thought, "Who is that?
Mm,
That's not who I want to be."
right. And she said, but then she came to me and said, "Why didn't you tell me?"
Oh, I did do that.
Why didn't you tell me
that I had
gained all that weight? I said, "Well, I love you either way. I mean, I love you anywhere you come. I love you. I just love you." And she said, "But you didn't tell me." I said, "Well, I was
you were very kind."
I was
so
scared.
Back then, I said William was a little thing.
He was a little thing.
And the gym was downtown, and I would get up, I roll out of bed, I put my tennis shoes by the side of my bed, and I roll out of bed and go to the gym and get back home before any of y'all were out of bed.
Before 7 o'clock.
And that was when I was working on the hill.
Right. So you'd be at the gym by 5:30 or 5:45.
Mm-hmm.
You were back out of the gym because you had a parking restriction as well.
Right. You had to be gone by 7 a.m.
Right.
or your car would be towed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, our time is up. Mm-hmm. Remember that we
weight gain.
Oh my God, we got more stuff.
Yeah, lack of it. What time is it?
It's 9:30.
It's 9:31. Lack of intimacy, physical and emotional.
Yeah, it's tough. So we want you to work on it. Remember the 4 F's. You got to talk about it, folks. Got to talk about it, and be careful, be kind.
But I think the issue of practicing
for what you're going to say before you say it
is important. And that's
think about it. Think about the words. Think about the inflection.
But
think
you
about
gotta practice it because it's easier for us to say it because we do it. We've learned it over the years.
Right.
But sometimes people don't have the words. They don't have the words to say, "I no longer find that attractive."
Right.
Without hurting your person, your mate's feelings or your significant other's feelings. Or maybe they need to learn some words, phrases, and the like. Expand their vocabulary.
Yeah.
But it's a very sensitive and it's
very sensitive. Thing. Okay, our time is up. Look, go to jollymarriage.com, get 2 copies of the book. In fact, we've been recommending people get the bundle, 2 books, 2 workbooks, audio book, and a CD on a CD seminar on CD. It's $149. Get it right now. If you want to be a speaker, we have our speaker boot camp coming up. In November, the weekend before Thanksgiving. We got a limited number of seats. The Jolly Rich Speaking Success.
Someone is at the front door.
Oh, right. Wow. Somebody's at the door. All right. So
that's how we have a community event coming up.
Okay.
Right now.
Right now. All right. She got to go.
JollyMarriageShow.com for past shows and information and share the information.
Right. And finally, thank y'all again for buying books for your friends, your family members, and go to jollymarriage.com/events and get the relationship repair
Thank you
series.
so much.
Thank y'all. We got to go. Here we're going out on my music for my jazz album. Go to williejolly.com/jazz.
Jolly out.
Jolly out. Here we go.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.